How good's a weekend roast, particularly if it's a lamb roast? And I'm going to give my lamb roast a bit of a Mediterranean twist with roasted capsicums and red onion and a fantastic herby sauce. So let's get our lamb into the oven. I like a base of these roasted vegetables because as they cook in the oven with the lamb and the lamb fat, they taste spectacular. So you'll need a couple of red capsicums. I've also got big chunks of the red onion. So that's one large red onion that I've quartered. And the reason I'm not cutting it into small little bits is I don't want these to burn in the oven. I want them to roast evenly with the lamb. I'll also just drizzle some oil over our veggies and some salt. Some rosemary can go into, and no need to chop that up. Okay, over to our lamb. Now I've asked my butcher to debone this. You can find deboned lamb leg absolutely everywhere now. Of course you can leave the bone in, but it just cooks a little faster when the bone is out and it just makes it so much easier to carve. So it's tied up, so it's quite neat and tidy. I've got a slight amount of fat on it, which is fantastic. Another drizzle of oil. There is some fat there, so you don't need too much. And we'll just rub all that oil over the lamb. A good pinch of salt, not only to season this large piece of meat, but also it's going to give it quite a nice crust, okay? And this is about 1.2 kilos of lamb. Some pepper, small amount on top, and that can sit pretty just on top of our vegetables. All right, this leg of lamb goes into the oven for about 1 hour at 180 degrees. And I say that because I have brought this out of the fridge about an hour ago. You don't want this to be too cold, so bring it out of the fridge, bring it to room temperature, and then roast it. All right, the roast lamb is out of the oven. I've allowed it to rest. So if it's cooked for an hour, give it at least 20 minutes. I promise you it'll stay nice and warm, particularly if you reheat up all these vegetables before serving it. So you can see there's lots of pan juices in here because I added a little bit of stock and also some white wine about 30 minutes into the cook. I don't like to add it at the beginning because I want that lovely crust to form with no liquid in the pan. So that can all sit there and rest while we make an extra sauce. Now this is an absolute must with roast lamb. It's my go-to green sauce. And I'm lucky enough to have this cute little hydro garden in my kitchen. I think these are fantastic, particularly if you want a combination of herbs or you have a preference of herbs too. So I just love basil. I cook with basil all the time and I can pick as much or as little as I like depending on the recipe. I've also got a mint hydro garden over there, so I've already picked some mint, and a parsley hydro garden, and it's perfect when I want to make a super fresh sauce just like this. So I'm going to pick my fresh basil leaves straight into a mini food processor. There's nothing like freshly picked herbs. I also don't like wasting herbs. I buy bunches of herbs and use half of it because the recipe only calls for half, and then the rest just wilts away in the fridge. So by having this, I've got fresh herbs all the time. With the parsley, there's so much flavour in the stalk, so I'm just going to tear them up into smaller bits, and that also goes straight into the food processor. Right, so there's our fresh herbs in there. Next, juice of some of the lemon, so about half of this. I want a good hit of acidity in this green sauce because the richness and the fattiness of the lamb. So not only lemon, but some vinegar, some fresh garlic, capers, and some mustard, Dijon mustard preferably, something quite mild. A good pinch of salt. And just to bind everything together, some extra virgin olive oil. So a good glug. Lid goes on and I'm going to blitz it until it's quite smooth. All right, let's have a look at this. Oh, look at that. See how creamy that becomes? Just right. So that can stay to the side while we start to plate this up. So onto my platter, I'm going to add all of these beautiful roasted vegetables. The colours just scream the Mediterranean. And you can see I'm picking up the vegetables, but also some of those pan juices because that's flavour right there. And that's going to be the bed for our lamb. Just going to put all of them on because they're just so pretty. Fantastic. All right, for the lamb, we're going to remove all of this string. So just use your scissors just to cut that off. And this is where you see how convenient the easy carve lamb leg is, because you don't have to worry about cutting around a bone. It's all ready to go. So take that away. And just turn that over again. And I'm just going to carve this. And that is just perfectly cooked. For some reason, it's just a preference. I don't like my lamb cooked like my beef, so I don't like it rare. This, I like it to be medium, and this is spot on. Okay, that should do it. Just gonna grab these slices straight on top of our veggies. And now for the sauce, I just like to just drizzle it all the way over the top. And look at those vibrant colours. And just because I have plenty of fresh herbs, a few extra basil leaves over the top won't go astray. And just pick them so they can just fall over the top. How fantastic does that look? The only thing that's missing here is some roast potatoes. So serve that with some potatoes on the side, and that is the perfect weekend roast.